No matter how expensive your speaker is, you won't be able to escape the limitations of radio, which is like the but yeah. So you might not have heard of the name Ruark before, but that's okay because to be honest, neither had I. But they're a British audio company that makes hi-fi systems that are apparently designed to first catch your eye before catching your ear, whatever that means. So when we were invited to have a quick hands-on session with the Ruark R7, I was definitely intrigued. I mean, it's an all-in-one hi-fi setup with modern streaming capabilities, and that sounded like a really cool deal. But at 15,999 ringgit, the big question I had at the start was this: who would pay this much for Bluetooth speakers? Ruark says that the R7, their flagship model in Malaysia, is essentially a modernization of the classic radiogram. Radiograms combine radio and vinyls in one player and were often made of polished wood. The Ruark R7 is available in a rich walnut or a soft grey finish, and for our session we got the classic looking walnut version. Despite its vintage look, the R7 packs everything that the modern music lover needs: Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, digital and analog ports, and even access to Spotify Connect and internet radio. There's also an honest-to-goodness CD slot for your 90s collection, so the only thing that you're really missing is a vinyl player. But I only had eyes, or rather ears, for one thing: the sound. I mean, what does 16,000 ringgit even sound like? I'll jump right past technical terms and start with this. The Ruark R7 sounds amazing. I'm hearing a lot of detail that I didn't hear before. There's a lot of caliphate, sorry, that's not really a word, right? A lot of background instruments that I usually don't hear. I can suddenly hear them now. But only on some tracks, so it turns out some tracks are better produced than others. As opposed to most speakers in the mainstream market today, the R7 stays true to its hi-fi roots with a sound profile that's balanced and dynamic with true-to-life audio reproduction. So what this basically means is that there isn't any perceivable bass boosting or audio upscaling, and as a result, the R7 provides a sound that's not too dissimilar from monitor speakers. Audio is crisp, sound staging is superb, and I genuinely heard detail in songs that I hadn't heard with other speakers. I can actually tell that this is clearly not real instruments, these are samples. Maybe samples are real instruments too, right? All the DJs will say, but the difference is actually noticeable. I wish we had a review unit to take back to office. It sounds really good, to be honest. This high fidelity performance is down to the use of a Class AB amplifier. So the gist of it is that this class of amplifiers offer both high fidelity audio and power efficiency with 160 watts of total power rated for the R7. Two Ruark Audio dual concentric drivers sit on either side of the monochromatic OLED display, while there is also a downward firing subwoofer on the bottom of the speaker cabinet. Everything is controlled with the Roto Dial controller, which is an apt name to be fair, and it's pretty easy to use and it connects via Bluetooth. The remote looks pretty good too, just like the rest of the setup. The cabinet or the enclosure has been designed for the best acoustics as well as a vintage aesthetic. Speaking of that aesthetic, I can totally imagine the R7 fitting in nicely with a simple minimalist home interior. The speaker cabinet, made of solid wood, also looks and feels like it wouldn't be out of place among higher-end designer furniture. Or at least I would imagine so. I don't actually own any designer furniture. Something I did notice, however, was that the Ruark R7 wobbles a lot. Basically, the legs propping the speaker up seem very unstable, so I'd advise you to simply detach them and place the cabinet down on a flat surface instead. The staging is really accurate. It feels like I'm right in front of them. I can hear the guitar on one side, I can hear the other guitar on one side. I really like that. I think something that I wish that it could do is it'll be a little bit taller. But I think it's also supposed to be a coffee table or something that looks like a coffee table. But it's a little bit low, which means that I feel I'm right above the sweet spot. Maybe if you're a little bit shorter, shout out to Zach, but maybe if you're a little bit shorter, then it would be suitable. But even then, no lah. I think the best position to experience it is to sit on the floor in front of it. Not something that I want to do right now. So I can do this. In fact, I'd actually advise you to place the cabinet on a higher surface. Sound staging is such a crucial element of the hi-fi experience, but with the R7 sitting this low, I found that I needed to sit on the floor to get the best experience. So back to my original question, who would pay this much, or who would pay this much for Bluetooth speakers? Well, for starters, 16,000 ringgit isn't really that much in the high fidelity world. I mean, I know some audiophiles would be willing to pay upwards of 20,000-30,000 ringgit for a classic modular style hi-fi system, so this in comparison isn't too much. To me, the Ruark R7 looks and sounds like a product that would appeal to audiophiles, but audiophiles that want a wide range of built-in features in a comparatively compact package, or those that simply don't want to tinker around too much. I also feel that the R7's all-in-one nature, as opposed to modular hi-fis, makes it a beginner-friendly entry point into the high-fidelity world. Plus, its size and look means that you should be able to fit the R7 into a variety of different spaces, as opposed to bigger, more hardcore hi-fi setups. At 16,000 ringgit, I'd say that the R7 sits in a sweet spot between the audiophile and the mainstream markets, and that's exactly where I think Ruark wants to be. Plus, when has furniture ever sounded this good? So what do you think, guys? Would you pay 16,000 ringgit for Bluetooth speakers? Let us know in the comment section below. And that brings us to the end of this video, and if you enjoyed it, remember to give it a thumbs up, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit the notification bell icon so that you don't miss any future cool videos like this. Alright, so this is Nick signing off for now. Bye!